So I usually don't do this because I really don't feel the need to be first. And it's what's led us to being the most popular live stream in the world because people know they can come here for truth. However, this is such a serious story. I'm going to kind of get out in front of it right now because I got a text this morning from a very important person in our movement who was very concerned about this. It's been going around online and on social media that what we would call SAMs, it's not like Sam's Club, but surface-to-air missiles. Basically, shoulder-fired missiles that go from the ground and then take out a target in the air, whether a helicopter, a plane, whatever it may be. There is a story going around the internet. For those of you in the chat, because I want to make sure we're not crazy here. Have you guys heard this story? Just a quick yes or no. Because I've gotten so many emails, I'm actually a little overwhelmed. If I get 10 emails on a topic, it's a big deal. If you get 1,000, it's like people are going crazy. Okay, you've heard about it. Okay, a lot of, man pads, that kind of stuff, okay? Here's what I know so far. I'll tell you what I do know. Given my 12-year background and contacts, the surface-to-air missile threat to, say, Trump's plane, Air Force One, Air Force Two, any plane carrying a protectee is real. It's been a threat for a long time. That's what I also know is, thankfully, it is extremely difficult, however, but not impossible. We clear? I don't want anyone to misconstrue what I'm saying. It is extremely difficult, however, not impossible, to get your hands on a surface-to-air missile within the United States. It's not like buying a Saturday night special on the corner of, Sutter Avenue in Pennsylvania in the 7-5 precinct when I was a cop. It is really difficult. They are relatively tightly controlled within the United States. There are tons of them around the world. There are probably still some running around from the Afghan war with the Soviets. I'm not saying it's impossible. Hear what I'm telling you. I'm just telling you it's really difficult. Now, having said the latter, that around the world, these things are a lot easier to grab, what are the chances one was smuggled in? Folks, here's what I know. My sources are telling me that this threat has been a threat for a really long time, that basically the story, I don't want to say it doesn't change anything because that sounds like they don't care. They do care, but the things they've been doing to mitigate it, they've been doing forever. Now, that makes me a little bit worried. Why? Because the Secret Service in the past, ladies and gentlemen, has been way behind on technology. You're seeing it now with the drone story. I'll go into it on Monday, but Susan Crabtree has another banger story at Real Clear about the Secret Service's resistance to drone programs. Here's the issue. Am I talking too much about this? Because I'm okay. The military, I'm not going to say too much, but I'm going to say enough that you understand the depth of the problem. The military handles the security around Air Force One and Air Force Two, okay? So Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, I believe, are as safe as they can be against the surface-to-air missile threat. I didn't say safe, I said safe as can be. Again, I don't want any of my words misconstrued. The problem we have with Donald Trump right now is, and I'm telling you what I don't know, I don't know the level of security surrounding his aircraft or not. I don't know. They're saying now that they're going to build him up to a presidential level of security. If the threat is as real as they say it is, assuming these weapons were smuggled in, that's a big assumption. I don't know that. I'm just saying it's an internet rumor, but it doesn't mean it's not true. I'm just telling you, I'm not sure that they can acquire that level of technology that fast because it's the military. You hear me? The military, not the Secret Service, that provides a lot of the countermeasures on these aircraft. And it's going to be very difficult to buzz in the military because Donald Trump's not the sitting president, especially with 40 days to go. My conclusion, so I don't leave this dangling and talking, ridiculous high-level words, whatever. It's a real threat. I'm worried. He should be worried. And the Secret Service and the military better be taking this seriously because say it's a 99% chance it's a rumor. What does that mean? That means there's a 1% chance it's not. And the Secret Service doesn't get paid to think about the 99%. It gets paid to think about the 1% chance that this is going to happen. There's a 1% chance a guy's going to go sit by the fence line and try to shoot us with an SKS with a scope. Yeah, that happened. There's a number of other stories that broke yesterday about Donald Trump, the campaign, his protection, and everything. So have we adequately addressed the surface-to-air missile threat? Conclusions, yes, very real. No, I'm not confident they have a mitigation measure, especially at this level of the game, because it would involve the military, not the Secret Service, and I'm not sure the Secret Service is ready for this. Done. Another story that came out yesterday, really bad story. Apparently, some of the reporting of Senator Josh Hawley is correct, even though Secret Service management objected to it. There's a story in CBS. Can you put up just a headline? And I'm going to go back to it in a second. Would you mind? I know I'm doing a little out of order, but there's a story out that the Secret Service is now, I don't want to use the term interfering, but I think it's an appropriate term now, interfering with the Trump's campaign schedule. Secret Service staffing shortage prompts Trump campaign to move a Wisconsin rally. Folks, I'm going to get back to this in a second. This is ridiculous. The Secret Service in a $7 trillion government has the biggest job they have triaging their needs is what? Keep this guy alive. It's not tell him where he can hold his rallies. What kind of bullshit is this? Have I not been warning you about this? How incompetent management, not just now. I don't want to, for as much as I dislike the management now, not personally, but professionally, I'm going to tell you something. They're bad, period. I want them gone. It is not only their fault. It's not. They were left a shit sandwich by 30 freaking years of mismanagement. I know because I was there. I started there in 1999. Ladies and gentlemen, they're saying now that Donald Trump can't hold a Wisconsin rally if this reporting is accurate. I mean, it is CBS, but assuming it's true, I have no reason to believe it's not. Don't hold it outside. You got to hold it inside. We can't secure your life because we have a manpower problem. I did the Secret Service a really simple favor here. The Secret Service is saying, hey, the United Nations General Assembly is going on and we got this presidential campaign. We don't have the manpower. So I did this little trick. Guy, did you know where I was going where I sent this to you this morning on the show prep? Did you have any idea?
I have an idea.
You had an idea?
I'm not too sure.
He knows me well. Okay. So I went to Google. The only reason I went to Scroogle as a search engine, the only reason is so the left can't accuse me of bias, okay? I put in the interweb, when does UNGA start? This is a screenshot of my phone, folks, so you don't think I'm messing with you. I made sure to spell everything right. UNGA is the United Nations General Assembly. For those who don't know, it happens every single year. And this is interesting. It comes right up. September of 2024. How do we know that? Because it happens every freaking year in September of 2024, 23, 22, 25, 28, 37, 78, 142,600. It doesn't matter. It happens every year. Screws up. Thank you. Even Guy knows this. He's not even a Secret Service agent. Everybody in New York who's been to New York, who's visited New York, knows do not go to Manhattan when UNGA's going on in September of 2024. So the entire cosmos and every planet on Earth knows that the UNGA and the world leaders are coming to Manhattan every single year, and the Secret Service is going to have to staff it. So the Secret Service can't say, we didn't know. Then I tried something else. I said, I don't know. Maybe they just didn't know about the presidential election. I mean, folks, it happens. People, shit, it goes over people's heads. So here's a screenshot of my phone here. When is the next presidential election? You'll see it got a little cut off. I hope I spelled everything right. Check twice. Check it twice. Holy shit. Look at that. It says 2024 U.S. elections. It even gives you a date. Gee, this is crazy. Tuesday, November 5th. It's like it's the first Tuesday or something like that. Jim, have you heard this before? This is weird. It's almost like it happens in November actually 2 years, but presidential elections every 4 years. So the Secret Service has known about this since the actual start of the United States over 200 years ago. So they've known about UNGA and they've known about the presidential election. And now they're saying, we can't support security for a presidential election because, hey, man, we just didn't know or something. No, they're not saying that. Right back to the CBS piece, Guy, if you would, for your boy here. CBS News. Secret Service staffing shortage prompts Trump campaign to move Wisconsin rally. They said they were shorthanded due to the ongoing annual meeting of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Totally caught them by surprise, folks. The Secret Service is responsible for providing security for foreign dignitaries while they're in the United States. So just to be clear, the Secret Service, which does not want to give up security for foreign dignitaries, is now securing the Prime Minister of Ghana, the President of Pakistan, and everyone else, while telling Donald Trump in the most important election of our lifetime, hey, bro, I'm not really sure you can do your rallies where you'd like because we have to pick an alternate location because we don't have enough people. The Prime Minister of Djibouti is taking some of your details. That's a place, by the way. You can look it up.
Does any other country do that, by the way?
What?
Protect everyone?
No. Guy has a really important question. Does any other country on earth prioritize foreign dignitaries over their own head of state? The answer is, not in my experience. Hell to the no.
The Switzerland does that?
No.
Don't forget
No.
protecting the Iranians.
Yes, Michael brings up a great point. The Iranian vice president's in country, we got him protected. Now, I got another screenshot from this piece. Here's what makes this even worse. You have an agency out there called the Diplomatic Security Service, the DSS. Folks, look it up. I don't make anything up, okay? It exists. It's real. They work for the State Department. These are extremely competent security professionals. Their advanced work is almost the same as the Secret Service, okay? There is absolutely no reason you can't farm some money over to them and some manpower and have them take over heads of state while we do this crazy thing like keep the presidential line of succession alive. President, vice president, maybe we take over protection for the next two and then presidential candidates. But because we have the government running the Secret Service, what happens? They go, holy shit, the United Nations General Assembly, man, when's that happening? I don't know. Someone should try Scroogle. Is it analogy time? Permission for an analogy? Thank you. Yeah, though it's my show. We have to throw that in there with an asterisk. So you run patch company. Tulsa Police Department, huge shout out. Love Tulsa. I was there with Tucker, right? They gave me this patch from their special operations team. Pretty badass. Cobra, right? So you make these patches. Imagine the Tulsa Police Department has a big hiring spree of SOD people coming up. They're hiring 1,000 people or whatever it is. The patch company's big. Holy shit, we're going to need some new patches. Imagine they've known about this for a year. It's in the paper and everything. And then the patch company, the last day goes, man, I don't know what happened. We don't have enough people to make your patches. You've known about it for a year. What do you think would happen to Tulsa Police Department's patch company? They get a new patch company. Because it's the government, what happens? The answer is jack and shit happens. Everybody goes, I don't know, man. We're so surprised. Here's an actual quote from the piece in CBS. Secret Service says our personnel and equipment are being pushed to the limits to sustain the current operational tempo. The official said the proposed Trump Wisconsin event also took place during the United Nations General Assembly, where the Secret Service is responsible for the safety and security of over 140 world leaders amid a challenged global threat level. I'm sorry, it's not fun. I don't know what to do but laugh. We're being pushed to the limit, our personnel and equipment. Again, here's another analogy for you. You run Joey Bag of Donuts car company and you need to produce 100,000 cars. Your workers are exhausted pushing 50. Here's what they do. Everybody in the chat, any idea? They hire new workers and develop a new assembly line. It only happens everywhere on earth. The government is known about the presidential election and UNGA, the Secret Service, for, I kid you not, I'll be nice, at least 20 years since I was there. I'm telling you right now, folks, someone else is going to get killed. You have absolutely incompetent people running this place. And I'm also telling you, they see no problem with anything they've done. Zero. On Monday, I'm going to go into Susan's piece about the drone program. You are going to sit there with your jaw on the floor. I hate teasers. So what the Secret Service went through, filing bullshit allegations against guys to stop a drone program. Why would they want to stop it? Because that's what they do. They don't want any new technology. They don't do shit until something happens. That's why. And nothing is going to change. And by the way, this little event I'm kind of teasing that I'll announce on Monday, it's going to be my first question. Because if we don't fix this, someone else is going to die. There was a hearing yesterday up on Capitol Hill. There was only one nugget I fed. Did you guys get that thing with the Butler guy talking that I asked you to pull, that video, by the way? I should ask you before the show. The Butler ESU guy, where there was some confusion about it? Okay, good. It looks like you got it there. There was only one big takeaway from the hearing yesterday. Honestly, folks, everything else you've already heard. It doesn't make any sense for me to relitigate the same things over and over again. But I've got two quick clips from it because there is some confusion still about who shot Crooks. Now, this is kind of a big deal. And I think the reason we still don't have a real answer over who shot Crooks first, I should say, is more political than anything else. Let me take a quick break. I'll get to that. And we got a lot more. I got a whole bunch of stuff. Kamala Harris now absolutely going full Teddy Ruxpin, too. Dinesh D'Souza's got a new movie out. Did you hear about it? If you haven't seen the trailer, it looks amazing. VindicatingTrump.com. The movie's called Vindicating Trump and explains the reasons the left and the Democrats hate Trump so much. The films show you that they call him a tyrannical dictator because they know Trump is the one Republican that can stop him. They got to stop him first. See Vindicating Trump and learn how Trump's not only a successful businessman who rebuilt the New York skyline, he's also a cultural icon who can mobilize the people against the radical left's anti-American agenda. In Vindicating Trump, see how Trump fought the authoritarian regime in Washington and got things done for the American people. The film highlights how they tried to bankrupt him with lawsuits and jail with indictments. There's even multiple assassination attempts on his life. This is crazy that we have to, Guy, you're reading this, right? We have to actually update this. This reads here, there was even an assassination attempt. There were even multiples. But Trump's unstoppable. Vindicating Trump reveals Trump is the one man who can stop the radical left from destroying what's unique and good about America. That's why we need his leadership now more than ever. Don't miss Dinesh's new movie. It's an unqualified defense of Trump, opening in theaters September 27th. There you go. I believe that is today. Get your tickets online at VindicatingTrump.com. That's VindicatingTrump.com. Get your tickets today, VindicatingTrump.com, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Okay, I listened to the hearing yesterday. I want to thank Eli Crane for citing some of my work on this. He's a congressman. I really appreciate it. Ton of special operations experience in the military and a generally, a really, really good, solid guy with a good character. I met him in person, super nice. The hearing confirmed most of what we already know. But there's one exception. Who shot Crooks, the assassin in Butler, first? And why don't we have an answer? Check out this video where there seems to be we were told the Secret Service hit him first. Why are we getting conflicting accounts of this still? This should not be hard to figure out. Really simple analysis. Check this out.
Commander Lentz, you mentioned that the local law enforcement activity fired the first shot. Is that correct? That maybe hit you mentioned maybe that he withdrew. Do you think he was hit, or do you think he just sort of ducked because he was taking incoming fire?
In speaking with the officer that fired that shot, he's very confident that his round was on target. And the way he described him, it wasn't a duck.
Is the doctor still available and online?
Yes, I am.
Were there two bullet wounds in this individual, or just one, the headshot?
No, it was just the one.
Okay. I just found it interesting that when we were briefed by the FBI, we didn't get told about that shot taken by the local guys.
Thank you. You guys did a good job. Sometimes I send stuff out. I don't know if it's going to make it a show or not. Folks, that is really bizarre. And I'm going to tell you what I think is going on. This should not be hard to figure out. A basic autopsy of Crooks's body should show if he was hit once or twice. That's why I left the autopsy doctor in at the end, who says, no, he was only hit once. So why is there some kind of an issue here about who hit the guy first? Well, the answer is pretty simple. I already told you a couple weeks ago. The Secret Service counter sniper team are the ones that killed Crook. I believe the round went through the chin and the shoulder, But the reason the first tactical officer believes he hit Crooks because he saw him jump is because what I've been told from a reliable source, believe me, there are a lot of unreliable bullshitters out there, and I've sifted through all of them, is the local officer, who's a hero, by the way, 100%. Whether he hit him or not doesn't matter, because he's the one who stopped Crooks. The Secret Service killed him, but the local, in my mind, from what I've been told, absolutely stopped him. He apparently hit the butt of the rifle, which was enough to obviously stop Crooks from sighting in anymore on Donald Trump and to shock him. So the locals are the one who actually stopped it. This is insane, folks, but one of the reasons I believe this is still up in the air about who did it is, even though the Secret Service counter sniper, who acted heroically, folks, it's not his fault he was given like 5 minutes to view the site at all. The guy hit an amazing shot. I'm telling you, there are people who did stuff wrong, and I've called them out. The CS guy is not one of them. The Secret Service, I don't think, wants to admit that they weren't the ones who stopped Crooks, that it was probably the local guy. That's why there's this confusion. They could clear this up. They just don't want to. The doctor did, however. The doctor's got no dog in the fight. He's saying he was hit once. He likely hit the rifle. And the secrecy around it, again, is not helping, folks. Here's one more cut from yesterday. This is Pat Fallon in this is him in an interview. Congressman Pat Fallon, and I'm going to move on after this. I know some of you like this story. I just don't want Donald Trump to die. Some of you get tired of it, but yesterday was a big day. Congressman Pat Fallon, with the best description yet of this debacle. It's not just that they didn't staff the building. It's that they didn't block the line of sight. They had no drone. As I've said to you over and over, I'm telling you, you're asking the wrong question when you ask, is this intentional? Layered incompetence is intent. You get drunk and you hit someone at 3 o'clock in the morning going 90 on a 30-mile-an-hour street. It doesn't matter if you intended to kill them. It's assumed when they put the handcuffs on. The Secret Service made so many unbelievably stupid decisions that the intent has to be assumed. Watch this.
Today, with an Iranian threat still against President Trump, that the Secret Service is prepared for the next 40 days.
Kayleigh, absolutely not, quite frankly. I mean, when you look at Butler, there were 9 different ways in which they could have mitigated the threat that the AGR building presented. They could have had somebody on the water tower. They could have flown drones. They could have put a camera on the roof. They could have put law enforcement on the roof. They could have surrounded the AGR building with local law enforcement. They didn't do that. They could have cleared the entire AGR complex. They could have had better communications. They could have done walkthroughs with local law enforcement, and they could have had one command post. None of those things were done. That is so egregious. That is such an epic historic failure. And then to have just a month or so later, another serious threat on President Trump's life. It is absolutely absurd. We're living in it's a world of the bizarre.
Staff the building, clear the building, block the line of sight, get a drone, put it in the secure perimeter, staff the entry points to the building. I mean, put a post on top, have it covered by a CS. Layered incompetence is intent. Folks, the reason I bring this up is not because I'm busting your rocks, okay? Did they intend to do it? The answer is yes, because they made so many ridiculous, unexplainable decisions as security professionals. The intent is assumed. If you're sitting back and waiting to answer the intent question, this is why it bothers me, for an email from someone in the Secret Service going to the FBI, we're going to get Donald Trump killed. I promise you, you're never going to find it, okay? You're just not going to find it. It would have already been disappeared. Don't wait for that. Layered incompetence is intent, period. Speaking of guns and secrecy, by the way, I mean, the most unintentional segue ever, but we're talking about who shot the guy and the secrecy around it. Folks, is Kamala Harris bullshitting you yet again? Kamala Harris is the single worst candidate I have ever seen run for office at the presidential level. I say that with the purest of hearts. I'm not a Kamala fan. We get it. Good, obviously. I have never seen someone with fewer skills. What are the things that would be the good hallmark for a national candidate, commander-in-chief, and leader of the world's biggest economy, right? Leadership, social IQ, aptitude, achievement. She has one of these. She has the achievement thing. She was a U.S. senator, and she has a law degree. Those are facts. I mean, aptitude, 0. Social IQ, the worst I've ever seen. I've never seen a cringier candidate who turns off so many people. Actual IQ, very low. Leadership ability, horrendous. Resume, at best. Private sector resume, 0. She is awful. So she lies about everything, and it's cringy. So she keeps telling people this story about owning a gun, how she's a gun owner, despite being the most anti-gun candidate to ever run for president. Karine Jean-Pierre was asked about this yesterday. Her answer is very telling. I guarantee you Kamala Harris is bullshitting you again. I'll play the video for you. Last break of the show. You're going to like this because she can't, the woman can't answer a question, folks. I think they're in real trouble right now. Hey, Field of Greens. It's been said that we all have 2 ages, our true age and our biological age. Our biological age suggests how healthy or unhealthy we are inside. You want your bio age years younger than your true age. Let me tell you how Field of Greens is helping me do that. I take it twice a day. It's an organic superfood. It's a fruit and vegetable powder. You mix in, I put it in green tea. Sometimes I put it in a little juice. Unlike any other, it's serious nutrition. Field of Greens was approved for a university study that doctors believe may lower your body's biological age. That generally means better health. Every fruit and vegetable in Field of Greens was selected by their doctors to help support vital body functions. Heart, liver, kidneys, metabolism, and immune system. Only Field of Greens is backed by a better health promise. How's that for you? Your next physical? I bet your doctor will notice your improved health from good nutrition. Like me, or your money back. I showed you my blood work. You're not faking it, man. Join me in better health with 15% off and free shipping. Visit brickhousenutrition.com/Dan and use promo code Dan. That's promo code Dan at brickhousenutrition.com/Dan, brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. And our last sponsor today, Omaha Steaks. Just had one of their burgers. I mashed it up into a salad. Absolutely delicious. It's tailgating season, cookout season too. With a lot more grilling left in the season, the experts at Omaha Steaks are inviting you to savor summer with 50% off site-wide during their Labor Day sale. Plus, you'll get an extra $20 off with my promo code Bongino. For 5 generations, Omaha Steaks has brought you endless flavor, endless variety, and endless value with premium proteins that are sure to satisfy. And it doesn't stop there. You'll enjoy big savings on premium pork and chicken, scrumptious sides, and of course, decadent desserts to sweeten the deal. The food is delicious. Whether you're having a cookout or getting fired up for tailgating, savor Omaha Steaks with 50% off site-wide during Omaha Steaks Labor Day sale. Shop today at omahasteaks.com and get an extra $20 off when you use promo code Bongino at checkout. That's a huge savings. Every purchase is backed by their unconditional money-back guarantee. And the damn Bongino, I'm telling you, the food's amazing. Minimum, and the Guy steals the burgers all the time. Minimum purchase may apply. Visit omahasteaks.com for details. Thanks, Omaha Steaks. All right, getting back to the show. So, folks, Kamala Harris is an awful candidate. She is lying about this owning a gun story. I'm sure of it. Because now she was asked very specific questions in the White House briefing room by a shocking act of random journalism. Someone said, well, what kind of gun is it? Well, how'd she get it? Because when she was living in these areas where she was the attorney general and the DA, it's really interesting. She was the one pushing to have all these guns removed from people's homes. So how did she get it? Watch Karine Jean-Pierre, who is the worst press secretary in the history of sentient human beings, just completely duck the question because she's bullshitting you again. Check this out.
What kind of gun does the vice president have, and when did she buy it?
That's something for her office to speak to.
The reason I'm asking is because you have this event today, but the VP, as district attorney, sponsored Proposition H in 2005. It would have banned handguns within San Francisco city limits and required that residents turn in the handguns that they already own by a certain deadline or face mandatory jail time. But she's out on the campaign trail now saying that she's a proud gun owner and is not going to take away your guns. So can the White House get us an answer on that? Because she hasn't, and her campaign officials also haven't answered that question, even on television.
Look, a couple of things here. When it comes to the VP and owning a gun, she can speak for herself. The campaign could speak for that. Her office can speak for that. I'm not. That's for them to speak to.
Folks, she can't answer the question because there's no answer to give other than she's lying about that too. You have to start to ask yourself, who is the bigger autobiographical nightmare? Joe Biden, who was raised in the Hispanic community, black community, Jewish community, had oil slicks on his window, got arrested going to see Mandela, was a trucker, was a letterman in football, finished at the top of his class, was the top law student in his school, who traveled 42 million miles on the Tibetan plateau with Xi Jinping. I'm starting to... What's that? Yeah, we do. Guy said we do. We do kind of miss Biden's stories a little bit, but you're starting to wonder who's worse. Kamala Harris. I worked in McDonald's. That doesn't seem likely. I'm a gun owner. It doesn't seem likely either. I grew up in a middle-class community. We know that's bullshit. Everything she says is shit. She's just making this stuff up, and suckers are like, yeah, man, yeah, but you're a gun owner. Ask her anything about, I dare any reporter. Go, what is it, a 5.56? Is it, what is it, a Daniel Defense? Is it a Henry? Is it she has no idea. She's making this up. Then I love the other one trying to be tough. If you come in my house, you're going to get shot. Yeah, you will, probably by the Secret Service, not by you. You don't have a gun. The reviews are in, by the way. Here are some New York Times quotes. New York Times, don't accuse me of right-wing bias. Here are New York Times quotes about Kamala Harris's dreadful one-on-one interview with MSNBC and opinion host Stacey Rule and big Kamala supporter. Quote, elicited few details, roundabout responses that did not provide a substantive answer. A hard-hitting Harris interview is still yet to come. Ladies and gentlemen, you are voting for a ghost. You are voting for Gozer the Gozerian if you support Kamala Harris. Go watch Ghostbusters. Watch the end and you'll see what I mean. The demon Gozer is anything you think he is. That's why he shows up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Because Ray can't get the stupid Stay Puft Marshmallow Man out of his head. That's Kamala Harris. She is anything you want her to be. Meaning when she gets into office, the worst possible inclinations the left has, they are going to push onto her. Unrealized capital gains tax, massive taxation, stock market crashing, open borders, voter fraud everywhere. Every single nightmare you have is about to come true if this crazy person gets elected. Here's one. It is a Friday, so I got to give you some good stuff, you know. They are starting to call out a lot of this on the left, the New York Times and elsewhere. Why? Now, I'm just going to read the chat here. I know a lot of you in the chat are probably thinking what I'm thinking, right? You're probably thinking, well, why is all of a sudden the media starting to do like media and journalism? They're not, folks. They're not. This has nothing to do with journalism, I assure you. All this is the left is realizing right now, they probably got Kamala Harris's internal polls. They're probably starting to leak out. They are terrible. She is hemorrhaging votes with black male voters, Hispanics, and younger voters. Do you understand? There is no math for her to win if she does not absolutely rout Donald Trump. I'm not telling you we can't lose. We can lose. We can most definitely lose this race. I'm just saying to you, be realistic. This woman is in a world of trouble right now. And this Breitbart article sums up another problem she has. I've been telling you for probably, longer since I started the podcast, because Joe Biden was the vice president when Obama was in office and I started the show. Joe Biden, listen to me, please zone in, is a sociopathic narcissist. I mean clinical. Joe Biden believes he is the most transformative, powerful figure in politics of the last 50 years. Folks, I saw it in the White House. Please record this. Put it out on social media. I'm telling you, it's true. Joe Biden walks in a room. Everyone in the room thinks Joe Biden is a moron except one person. Joe Biden. He is a lunatic. He has this unbelievable, he's the smartest person in the room. Just ask him. Everybody around him knows it. Don't say you don't. Lefties watching the show, you've seen it. His campaign right now, he's running essentially his own campaign. He's going to bounce around the country now telling people how wonderful his presidency was, is annihilating Kamala Harris. Because now they're being reminded that Kamala Harris was part of all this. Inflation, the border, the global turmoil. Now he says this the other day, and I am hearing the Kamala Harris campaign is absolutely crapping their diapers. They need mama to change them. Breitbart. Joe Biden says he's delegated everything to Kamala Harris. Foreign policy to domestic policy. This is killing him. This is killing him right now. The Harris campaign is trying to run as a change agent from themselves while Joe Biden's saying, she can't change it. It's her stuff. Look, she did it. Listen to me, please. They are begging him. The Democrats, Pelosi, all of them. Please, Joe, shut the up. Just shut up. We got the is it bad enough shirt. The answer is it's getting there. Are we there yet? I don't know, but it's getting there. And nobody wants to be reminded of the last 4 years. And Joe Biden, who is a clinical narcissist, cannot shut up. He's running around the country telling everyone how fantastic everything is when everybody knows it sucks. I tweeted to Mark Cuban the morning, the Shark Tank guy this morning. Cuban tweeting out how the crime stuff is all fantastic. Crime is that. This is the Kamala Harris strategy. Pretend nothing Joe Biden did is happening. Crime, the border, the economy, inflation. Pretend you weren't the vice president and try to get Joe Biden to shut up when he says, no, you did everything with him. The left knows they've got a problem. Don't pretend they don't. I'm not telling you Republicans don't have a problem too. We do. The Senate races, we're in some trouble, okay? They've got a problem too. Here's Jake Tapper on CNN, who basically calls BS on Pelosi because I think he senses there's an issue too. And he realizes Kamala's in trouble if she doesn't actually start answering a freaking question because everybody's going to start painting them with the Joe Biden brush. Watch this.
Do you think she needs to be presenting more meat on the bones of, I get that she's from a middle-class family, it's great, and I get that she feels people's pains, great, but what about, like, here are the 5 things I'm going to do directly for you? Does she need to be doing more of that?
Well, she'll be doing some of that tomorrow once she'll put forth her economic plan. But people like to have a connection to whoever is running for office, that they share their experience, that they understand their lives. And I think that's what she is establishing.
Nobody understands in the Kamala Harris campaign your life. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. You ready? Questions are always better than assertions. Who of you out there never had a real professional job, dated Montel Williams, had at a minimum a relationship with a powerful power broker in California politics, leveraged that relationship at a minimum, and I'm being nice, to then gain multiple political positions, had a political party clear the way for you for a Senate race, and then ran for president on your own and got absolutely destroyed and didn't make it in, and then had a presidential nominee pick you for DEI reasons. He said, not me, I don't know why they're not proud of it. He said it. He said he was picking his presidential candidate, not according to merit, but according to these characteristics. Go look it up. You don't have to ask me. How many of you can relate to that? The answer is nobody. She is totally unrelatable. Totally unrelatable. Nobody can relate to any of that. You think the electrician out there who's been building his business for 20 years, if he makes one mistake, a house burned down, and he winds up getting sued, you think the electrician can relate to this? He never had a political benefactor like Willie Brown or Obama helping out. He never got to run for office with a bunch of powerful insiders helping him. What the hell are you talking? He never dated Montel Williams. Folks, this shit happened. You can look it up. Oh my gosh, it's insulting. What's it? So it happened. It's not my fault she made these decisions. You think the American people can relate to this? She is totally, completely unrelatable. And her surrogates are unrelatable too. They are totally full of shit. The surrogates are embarrassing. Mark Cuban this morning. Oh, crime, no problem. Crime. Basically saying, here's these crime numbers from the FBI. How many times do we have to tell you those are not an accurate data set of what the crime situation in the United States looks like? I can't debunk this anymore. I'm done. Mark Cuban pretends to be a smart guy. He can look up the NCVS. He just doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to. Here's Jennifer Granholm. a Biden cabinet member, by the way, out there trying to do the surrogate thing again for Kamala, with one of the single dumbest media appearances you'll see in this cycle. Kamala Harris's now media surrogates are leaking to the press she supports a border wall. So she's asked a simple question. I thought you guys said the wall was racist. And Granholm's like, well, we support the wall, but like different wall things, like technology to wall. Really? Technology like a wall? Because that's pretty good technology that's been used like since fire and the wheel, and they still work. Watch this.
Harris previously called Donald Trump's wall project a complete waste of taxpayer money that won't make us any safer. Where does she stand on the wall?
She wants to make sure that the border is secure, and there are lots of measures to be able to do that, and the funding is necessary to make that happen, whether it's using technology. There may be provisions where she needs, but his version of the wall was ridiculous. She wants to do it in a way that actually has impact and actually slows illegal immigration while making sure it's done in a sensitive way. So, the bottom line is he is utterly hypocritical about it, and she will definitely point that out.
What was that? What the hell kind of bullshit word salad was that? Donald Trump's version of the wall, which was, do you know what his version of the wall was? A wall. What version of a wall is there? It's a wall. It's like, what version of the wheel? Wheel 2.0? It's a fucking wheel, man. What version of the fulcrum? I mean, these are... No, he said it right. Trump's wall, a physical obstruction to entering the country, is definitely the racist version. Why? Because she says, like, technology or something. I don't know, like the technology they were going to employ on Trump's wall, cameras, motion detectors, that kind of stuff, drilling down deep, anti-climb features. Like, you understand these people are talking to a bunch of freaking numbnuts liberals who will believe anything they're told. He just said it. The liberals like, yeah, man, our wall's different. It's not racist. You are dealing with the dumbest on earth. They are so stupid. It is hard to get your arms around. That host, why didn't they ask a simple question? Wait. So you're not building a wall? No, we're building a wall, but not. How? It's a wall, but it's not a wall? No, it's technology. Like what? A camera? Well, why not put the camera on top of the wall? Because if you put a camera and it sees someone coming in and there's no wall, they're still going to come in. And you know what they're going to do to the camera? They're going to say, fuck you, camera. I'm coming in. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to say, triple barrel, camera. Hey, guys. So now what? You get it on video? What the fuck is a camera going to do? They're going to wave to you as they come in. There's drones up at the border right now, videoing people coming in going, my gosh, how stupid do you have to be? This woman is an idiot. Remember Gina Raimondo, the other cabinet secretary, surrogate for Harris, when she was asked about the job numbers being manipulated and they told her about the BLS, Bureau of Labor and Statistics? Remember what she said? I've never heard of that. Holy shit. These people, this is the... And they're like, hey, Trump's a moron. You sure? Are you really sure we're the stupid people? You sure about that? Here's another one. It's Mark Cuban, who... My daughter likes the show Shark Tank. I'm going to tell you, this guy's ruining it for me. I can't watch it now knowing this guy's this dumb. I really thought he was this genius investor, right? He pitches himself as a super smart guy. You know what he comes off like now? One of these smug tech bros who swears because he got lucky in a few investments, he knows everything about everything. This guy is now the stupid smart person I warned you about. Here is CNBC. So don't accuse me again of using right-wing channels. We're even there like, hey, Mark, this inflation crisis thing that they caused, they're lying about it. It's not price gouging. It's because they printed a bunch of money. Like, you're a smart guy. Just admit it. Watch this exchange. Check this out.
Do you think any of the 40-year highs in inflation are attributable to price gouging? And do you care that that is the entire premise on...
No, you're misrepresenting what she's saying, Joe.
I'm watching her ads now.
Okay, so then let's talk.
You've seen the ads.
Yes, of course. Right.
I'm going to bring down...
During a crisis.
Okay, what do you think caused the 40-year? Do you think supermarket gouging had anything to do with?
No.
You think it was putting too much stimulus on top of a supply constrained?
Biden
and then it just looks to me like they're not being truthful with this, and they're trying to deflect blame.
No, but it's
to corporations right? Because of their record.
Mark, listen, man, it's not personal, okay? I don't know you. I'm sure you don't want to know me. I don't want to know you. We're never going to have coffee together, and I'm really not looking to be a dick. I'm just asking a simple question. Joe Kernan there on CNBC, who I'm becoming actually a pretty big fan of. This guy's been coming off the top ropes. I mean, the people's elbow every day with new stuff. I don't even know this guy's politics, but he keeps humiliating these pro-Harris guests who come on and say dumb shit. There it is. People's elbow again makes an appearance here. Mark, he's watching the ad, Joe Kernan, the host, where she blames inflation on price gouging. Don't then come back and make a buffoon of yourself and saying you're misrepresenting what she said. That's what she said. It's in her ads. And then he has to admit, of course, because he doesn't want to look like a total goofball, that the price gouging thing is just made up. There are already price gouging laws in multiple states. She's just making this up. This is even better. Rarely do I do back-to-backs. You got the people's elbow again? Here he is with the double. Off the top ropes this time. This is like Macho Man. This is even this is Jimmy Snuka. Remember Jimmy Snuka flying from the top ropes? If you missed old school WWF with Snuka, they called him Superfly. This dude was right off the top ropes. This is Joe Kernan from the top ropes again on the trans sex changes Kamala Harris supports. If you're a trans person in prison, Kamala Harris wants to steal your tax money to pay for prisoners to get sex changes. That's a documented fact. Please look it up. We played the video. Here's a Kamala Harris donor. This guy's name is Blair Efron, humiliating himself, and Kernan going Superfly Snuka off the top ropes with another surrogate for Harris buffoon moment. Check this out.
Wants to abolish ICE. She's on the record paying for gender, for illegal,
I hear you.
Undocumented aliens, paying for gender transition surgery.
Good news
from the taxpayer.
The good news is, as more people see her,
she's going to say, I don't believe any of those things now?
I'm not believe. She's telling you what she believes.
Well, that's another problem, because she's not telling us anything.
Folks, she's on tape. She's on video supporting trans sex changes for prisoners. She answered in the affirmative in a survey. It's not even one moment. These guys don't know what to say. These surrogates just go on the air and freaking humiliate themselves. So let me tell you what's going to happen. Flag it right now. Jim, flag it early, because I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. You are going to see in probably just the coming days, if their internal polls in the Harris campaign continue to get worse, which they are, and her trip to the border today is going to be a disaster. It's going to remind everyone how incompetent this woman is. I guarantee you, the Harris campaign is going to double down on the MAGA threat to democracy. It's all they have left, folks. They can't run on the border. They can't run on the economy. Their surrogates don't know what to say. Her interviews, she beclowns herself. The New York Times is ripping her to shreds. You got Tapper on CNN asking questions. Trust me, this is not going well. I don't care what anyone tells you. They could still win. There is still time for the media to pull scam. I'm just telling you, they're in bad shape. The reason I bring up the threat to democracy thing, this is not gelling. The American people don't give a shit about your fake January 6th narratives. We now know there were feds in the crowd. Explosive news coming out yesterday, if you missed yesterday's show. The American people out there who are voting and undecided, who work for a living, do not want to hear your threat to democracy narrative from the exact people who are trying to put Donald Trump in jail. You doubt me? Again, MSNBC clip. Why are we playing MSNBC? Because no one's going to accuse me of being biased. This is a freaking MSNBC clip with Alex Wagner talking to union workers. Thank you, union workers, for everything you do to build this country. I would tap my heart, but my elbows don't work. I love you guys. I love you all. I'm serious. My brother's a union electrician. My dad was a union plumber. God bless you. I want you to listen to her talking to people who built America about the threat to democracy January 6th thing. And they're like, yeah, okay, whatever. Can we like talk about real stuff? Watch this.
Talk to me about your level of interest in the criminal charges and so forth.
February 6th?
January 6th.
So I remember that day. I know he was the standing president. I'm not familiar with the charges that are being brought against him for that. I'm not following that charge or I know there's multiple court cases going on. I'm just not familiar with it.
I mean, that doesn't sound like it's going to be a factor in deciding who to vote for.
No.
Okay, so when I say January 6th, what do you think?
Oh, I just remember seeing it on the news, like all the riots and stuff. Don't really know what it was about or what happened, though.
How did it make you feel when you saw it?
I don't know. I don't really feel any way about it. People showed their emotion, I guess. Probably in the wrong way, but it happened.
You see, the libs will never do what I do. They will never give you two perspectives on things. I'm playing for you their perspective because they keep trying to make this dog bark. They keep trying to make fetch happen. Someone needs to tell Gretchen, fetch is not going to happen. People are done with this narrative. They know they haven't been told the truth about January 6th. I've told you the truth. I have been totally candid. I've watched the videos. Some of that shit really should not have happened. And I have been clear on it from day one. However, because I have no problem telling you the truth, the story of January 6th has not been told. And the more they tell, the worse it is for them. Part 3 of this is most people are done with it. They can't feed the dog, the kids, get braces on the kids' teeth, pay the mortgage. They don't want to hear about Chewbacca guy taking over the northeastern territories as the Lord Viceroy General. They don't care. You keep going with it because you're just wasting everybody's time. And even worse, do you see this from Trump yesterday on Truth? Shocking, breaking news. Now we know, according to a John Solomon report, that another January 6th narrative is completely fallen apart. Trump did authorize the National Guard. I thought we were told he didn't. You were told a lot of things, folks. And it turns out all of it was colossal bullshit. The left will believe anything. They tell their kids a bunch of lies. They live in a bubble of stupid. I want to fit this clip in. I know we're running a little late, but this is important. I want you to watch this CNN clip. This is what happens. You watch this show, I give you the left's perspective in mind, correct? So we can make informed decisions. I'm never going to stop doing that. The left will never do that. So now you understand them, but these idiots will never understand you. I want you to listen to the CNN segment about how the kids of leftists even believe crazy stuff. This is why the country's divided, and it sure as shit ain't because of you. Check this out.
Overall, the biggest finding, the children in the study were polarized, with what researchers called more extreme responses from the blue state kids than the red state kids.
Donald Trump, he did bad things. He's like Hitler.
He only wanted to be president so that he can just control everybody.
Trump is supporting January 6th now. I remember that January 6th was a bunch of Republicans believing Trump.
Kamala Harris was going to start quickly because there's really not a lot to digest other than the key takeaway. People who don't understand politics, and that's a lot of folks, and I get it. It's not their job to understand politics. Their job is to fly a plane, fix an HVAC system. I understand. My job is to understand politics. If I have a useless job, you people out there have real jobs. This is a useless job. It's hopefully useful for motivating people to vote, but I don't produce stuff with my hands. What real people do add in value, okay? I get paid to break this stuff down. I'm telling you, snapshots and sound bites are all that matters. Most of America is working and busy. If they are not persuadable, they're going to see a 15-second soundbite and maybe a picture of Kamala Harris, and both of them suck. Here's what I mean. Here she is last night. She did her first I don't even want to call it an interview. She did an interview with an obviously friendly opinion host who pretends to be a reporter, who just got done saying Kamala Harris shouldn't have to say anything on the Bill Maher show, that Trump is awful and Kamala doesn't have to say anything. We played the cut. Her name is Stephanie Rule from MSNBC. Is that why Kamala went there? Probably so. This is a perfect example of the Kamala vacuum. She's asked a very serious question about the economy, and I want you to listen to the answer. How it's nothing but ridiculous focus group tested talking points that mean absolutely nothing. If there was even a shred of follow-up, she would have collapsed. Watch this.
Expanding that child tax credit, or you mentioned housing before, giving that extra money for a first home. If you can't raise corporate taxes, or if GOP takes control of the Senate, where do you get the money to do that? Do you still go forward with those plans and borrow?
Well, but we're going to have to raise corporate taxes, and we're going to have to make sure that the biggest corporations and billionaires pay their fair share. That's just it. It's about paying their fair share.
Folks, this woman is so empty, vapid, and absolutely full of shit. It's stunning that even the MSNBC host lets this go. What is the obvious follow-up to that question? Anybody know? You in the chat know. You're listening on Apple or Spotify. You know the answer. What's the freaking fair share? This is all Democrats say. What is the fair share? Now, for those listening at home, this is a pop quiz. Why do you think Kamala Harris will never, ever, ever, listen to me, ever give a number on what successful people's fair share is? Why do you think? Anyone know? Any of you guys know? Because if she gives the number like Al Sharpton did in that dreadful interview with John Stossel we used to play all the time on the show. If you can find it, I should have put it in, Jim, put this in the radio show. This is what happens when you actually give a number. The rich, the successful, the people who work already pay the overwhelming amount of taxes in the United States. So this loser candidate, the worst candidate we have seen, and even worse than Biden, Kamala Harris, despite all of the media fluff, she is still collapsing in the polls. This woman sucks so bad, she couldn't even be vice president, a job where she has nothing to do but show up and wait for something to happen to the president. That's it. She couldn't even do that. I'm going to play this for you in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, the wealthiest 1% of taxpayers pay about 40% of the income tax load. 1 out of every 100 people pays 40 cents of every dollar in income taxes. What is the fair share if that ain't it? That's why this dipwad loser will never give you a number. She's a vacuum. And who pays corporate taxes? Corporations. Where do they get their money from? Liberal morons, liberal imbeciles. Where do corporations get their money? Answer the question. Stop being dumbasses. Answer the freaking question, you morons. Where do corporations get their money? Consumers? Consumers? Yeah, you dipshits. Corporations don't pay taxes. Corporations just pass the cost on to customers. Why are you liberals so stupid? Here's dumbass Al Sharpton, who made the mistake of actually answering this question because he was too stupid. He answers the question. Watch John Stossel make an absolute buffoon out of him. This is one of my favorite clips of all time, up there with Yuri Bezmenov. I can't play this enough. Watch this.
Not pay their share. That's a widespread belief. But do the politicians even know how much of the income tax burden the rich pay now?
The top 1% in this country pays very much less than 10%. Very much less than 5%.
So what's fair? The top 1% should pay 10% of America's income taxes? 20%?
No, they should pay somewhere around 15%. They don't pay 5%. Anybody could see that as unequal and unfair.
So they should pay 15%, he says. And the richest 1% now pay less than 10%. Then he said less than 5%. But that's so silly because, and I bet most of you don't know this, the IRS says the richest 1% of taxpayers already pay 34%. Twice what Sharpton wanted them to pay. The Reverend barely reacted when I told him. They're already paying 34%.
No, I think that if you deal with the quality of their lives.
He quickly changed the subject. He never would admit how far off he was.
Folks, do you see why I wake up every morning and I absolutely cannot stand liberals? Everything they tell you is bullshit. Everything. You ask a strong conservative a simple question on taxes, who knows what they're talking about, they will give you a coherent answer. You want to ask me, hey, Dan, what should the corporate tax rate be? I think it should be flat across the board. Corporate tax gains, income tax should all be flat. Wow, that was hard. No, it wasn't, because I'm not as stupid as Kamala Harris. Well, Dan, what do you base that on? Well, very simply, I base it on Hauser's Law. You can look it up yourself. Hauser. Hauser's Law shows that over time, a healthy economy will generally only be willing to tolerate about 17 to 20% of its GDP and tax revenue. Pretty simple equation. So if that's all it's willing to tolerate, I want to basically venture towards the low end, maybe 15, 17, see where we go, and generate a flat tax across the board so people don't move money around. You see how easy it is to answer questions when you're not a dumbass liberal? Liberals, why are you so stupid? The answer is because you choose to be stupid. And you follow a candidate who says dumb things. I want people to pay their fair share. Stephanie Ruhle, who is the worst interviewer I have ever seen, she just had to ask one simple question, which no liberal opinion host like her, she's not a reporter, she's not a serious person, Stephanie Ruhle should have said, you're going to be the president of the United States potentially? What is the fair share? And how did you come up with that number? When is someone going to ask the mother question? When? Anyone? Is this a lot to ask? Sorry, I didn't even plan on spending that much time on this because I wanted to get to this January 6th thing, and we will. I promise. It's coming up next. But again, we've got an election going on right now. It's not coming. Early voting's already started. The election's here right now. There are people waving signs out in my neighborhood. Here's one more clip. This is peak Kamala Harris right here. This is a genuinely low IQ person. Sometimes we call people stupid because we're pissed off. This is a seriously low intelligence quotient person. She has no aptitude at all, and she has an awful social IQ, cackling, dopey stuff. This is her answer. She has no ability to articulate a vision. So what she does is she gets lost in buzzwords. So someone must have said to her the word holistically, and she was like, is that an SAT word? Watch her repeat it, I think 3 times in 15 seconds because she can't think of anything else to say. This is your candidate. Check this out.
Assistance to state and local governments around transit dollars. And looking holistically at the connection between that and housing. And looking holistically at the incentives we in the federal government can create for local and state governments to actually engage in planning in a holistic manner that includes prioritizing affordable housing.
Folks, this woman is a moron. And I'm sorry to all like the mainstream swampy Republicans. Don't call her a moron. She's a moron. And everybody needs to see it. She is... And you listen, you can knock, here's the difference. You can knock Trump all you want and say, well, I don't like his vocabulary and the words he uses. Fine. I can point to you a litany of business successes and some failures here and there, but at least experiences that would lead me to believe that this guy's got experience leading major corporations and leading the country. I can also point to a 4-year record. Conservative justices, the Abraham Accords, the tax cuts, GDP growth. I can point to some failures, the COVID stuff as well, but I can point to someone with a body of experience I can use as a metric. This moron can't do anything. She can't speak. She can't deal with a group of people. She can't even fake an accent. She's had like 100 different accents now. She goes from a Spanish accent to faking other accents. The woman is just a fraud. She is a total phony. How can you vote for this woman? This woman should seriously lose 47 states. And I don't even know what the 3 are. California, Illinois, Hawaii. That's it. This is just an awful candidate. We're going to holistically view the holistications of the holistic. What are you talking about? A Venn diagram of vocabulary words you don't understand? And I may get on the school bus with the Venn diagram and holistically evaluate the electric vehicle mandate and how it affects the Venn diagram school bus. The woman is an idiot. She is going to destroy your life and your business, and she has a Project 2025 too. Taking your money, taking your kids, late-term abortion, taking away your guns, raiding your house, stealing your health care plan. It's right in front of you. Just listen to her own words. Listen to it holistically, yes. Justin said it right. You know, I'm on those word of the day things. I enjoy a deep vocabulary, but I try not to use overly complicated words when a simple one will do. That's the mark of really an unintelligent person, not an intelligent one. She must get the word of the day thing and be like, she uses like, when I was in graduate school studying psychology, I'm sorry, you're never supposed to say your education, but there's this thing in the brain called the decusation of the pyramids. And you'll hear me say that because I always thought that was kind of a funny way to describe this structure in the brain. That's Kamala Harris. Like, she'll talk about the decusation of the pyramids and stuff. And she read it somewhere in a book. That's who she is. Like, that's just who she is. All right, this story is where I was going to lead today before I added these things late. Folks, this is precisely why I refuse to trust the government to investigate itself. And if you do, I'm sorry, you're a fool. If you're listening to my show, I love you. If you trust the government to investigate itself, the assassination plot, January 6th, Spygate, Russiagate, collusion, the government, if you're trusting them to investigate their own malfeasance, you are absolutely out of your mind. I don't trust the Inspector General who was up on Capitol Hill, Horowitz. Did you see this yesterday about January 6th and other things? I do not trust this guy as far as I could throw him, and I got a bad arm. I couldn't throw this guy a yard. No, but I want to. This guy is a fake and a phony and a fraud. He could have exposed the January 6th pipe bomber case a long time ago, and he refuses to. He could have blown up the whole Spygate thing, and he didn't. I want you to listen to this exchange. It is looking more and more likely, if not probable, if not certain, every day that the entire January 6th narrative you heard about the insurrection is almost all bullshit. I say almost all because there's some stuff there that shouldn't have happened, and we should acknowledge that. But the instigators behind it and some of the people in there, it is now obvious that the story you've been told is colossal bullshit. And the pipe bombs at the DNC, where Kamala Harris was on January 6th, she was not at the Capitol when the proceedings started. She was at the DNC. It is now clear to me that this was an inside job. I could say with almost absolute certainty from a whistleblower who was there, who strongly believes it was a government contractor who planted those bombs to set up a fake assassination plot on Kamala Harris to basically generate sympathy to shut down people from questioning the vote on January 6th. How do I know this? Here's the IG Horowitz. Tom Massey is a Republican congressman. I don't care about your personal feelings about this guy. This guy has been all over the pipe bomber case on January 6th. All over it. He's not letting it go, and we should applaud him for it. He's a +1 on the spreadsheet. Here's Massey asking about the January 6th pipe bomber. Videos are disappearing. Nobody seems to want to know who it is. Why would the FBI not want to know who it is? Because if they put out a video showing you who it is and someone recognizes him, this whole thing's going to blow wide open. Listen to Horowitz squirm on this. Check this out.
We've got a FBI's failed investigation of the January 6th pipe bomb. Are you looking into that at all?
We've had discussion, I know, Congressman, about it, and we have followed up, and I can speak to you about that.
I mean, they keep saying it's an ongoing investigation, but they've got no leads, no suspects. They've lost information. They've lost evidence. They can't find evidence. Secret Service deleted all of its texts on January 6th. Steve D'Antuono, the guy in charge of Washington, D.C. field office, says that the cell phone data that could have been used to find the bomber was corrupted. And now we just found out, I found out from another inspector general, and I want to submit this for the record.
Without objection.
Yeah. I asked him, do you have the footage, the video footage? Does the FBI have the video footage of the DNC on January 6th? And he tells me when he asked the FBI for the video footage, they don't even have video footage of the DNC that we know was created on January 6th. It's almost, it's almost as if they don't want to know. Can you rule out that there were any confidential human sources involved in the whole pipe bomb thing on January 6th?
I'm not, I'd have to go back, Congressman, and refresh myself on what information we've gathered to date on that. I don't know as I sit here.
Okay, that would be a huge revelation.
But I'm happy to come.
I think we should get that and get it public before the election. I yield back.
Folks, Do you see this guy squirming? Are you seriously telling me with a straight face that the Inspector General, with access to all the records, the Inspector General and the Office of Inspector General, their job is like the internal affairs for the government. They have access to everything. Are you seriously telling me, nearly 4 years after January 6th, that the freaking Inspector General, with all the power in the world to investigate, that needs to refresh his memory about basic questions like, where are the Secret Service emails and texts from that day, and why'd they disappear? Their Secret Service is lying. They said it was a tech update. That's an absolute lie. Show us the contract. They're lying. Now he's telling us in a new bombshell, the FBI doesn't even have the video footage of the alleged bomber planting the bombs. And then we found out years ago, thanks to Darren Beattie and Julie Kelly and their amazing reporting, we found out that the phone records of the geo-tracked alleged bomber who was calling someone while he was allegedly planting the bombs, the phone records were corrupted. No one else's, just his. Folks, listen to me. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back to this story. I got more and more video from Massey. Listen to me, please. This was absolutely an inside job by the government. 100%. 100%. I'm going all in. 100%. And you know, I do facts. People send me theories all the time. I'm not going to call them conspiracy theories. They send me theories. Some of them are viable. If I've responded to you, you know what I say? Send your evidence. Don't send me an opinion. Not that I don't care about your opinion. I do. I value your opinion. But opinions, I need facts to back them up. I have an incontrovertible series of facts. Whistleblowers, missing data, Secret Service data missing, FBI data missing, cell phone company data missing, a agent, whistleblower at the scene telling me he was told to stand down a couple days later, someone telling me they strongly believe this was a government contractor, and the Secret Service not detecting a bomb that was allegedly there. Bullshit. This was 100% an inside job that was designed to generate sympathy on an assassination plot, and they didn't need it when the riot broke out at the Capitol. I'm all in. And I'm going to show you more evidence coming up in a second. Biggest scandal out there without question. Coming right back. Hey, the number one question I get from listeners, how can I join the parallel economy, get in the conservative fight? It's critical to know where your dollars are going. A lot of credit card companies are funneling millions to left-wing causes and candidates, and they're hoping you don't notice. But now you have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. Find them at coin.com, COIGN. With every transaction, you help Coin advance conservative causes and charities at no cost to you. Coin empowers us to take back our country with every swipe. And it's a great-looking credit card you'll take pride in using. It's bright red with We the People on the front. Can't beat that. Coin works everywhere Visa's accepted, comes with a 100% U.S.-based customer service and consumer protection guarantees. It's the only card worthy of your wallet and our wallets. Start earning cash back while fighting the liberal agenda today. Apply now at coin.com. At COIGN.com. Be sure to select Dan Bongino in the How Did You Hear About Us section. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. Back to the show. Darren Beattie, Julie Kelly have been all over this story. Cannot thank them enough. They are not letting this January 6th story go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a huge freaking scandal. You have been told January 6th was an insurrection, worse than Pearl Harbor, the Civil War, all this stuff. Now you're finding out slowly but surely that the government had an enormous role in January 6th, and they're hiding this thing. Now do you see why? I'm going to ask you a question. Please, folks in the chat, please chime in. Now do you see why it is so important they make Donald Trump go away before the election? Do you get it now? Is all this stuff coming together? If this guy gets elected, every one of these agencies involved in this is going to be feverishly burning paper and deleting emails. But there are other people who have them. Just trust me, there are other people who have them. That's why they're terrified. Kamala Harris gets elected. The cackler, the low IQ cackler, all this, you will never, ever, ever get to the truth here. This is in a newsletter today, right, guys? If this wasn't in a newsletter, everyone's fired. Was it in there? Okay, good. We can preserve jobs. This is good. I don't want the union getting on me or anything. Revolver. You got to read this story. Breaking yesterday. Government source confirms FBI dirty tricks with key January 6 pipe bomb footage as cover-up unravels. So, folks, leave this up on the screen. I'll take it down. Darren Beattie's team has a new source. Here's the bottom line. The FBI is telling us in front of the DNC when Kamala Harris was in there that there was some assassination plot and a bomb was there. There's video. There is an extensive camera network around the DNC. But the weirdest thing is, as Tom Massey just told you in that clip, the FBI is claiming they don't have the footage. Oh, really? Here, from the piece. First, we definitively proved that the FBI decided to withhold footage from the DNC camera from the public, which would clearly show the pipe bomber actually planning the bomb. We encourage readers who have not read our piece on this to watch the following video, and you can see it in the piece if you want to watch it. Here, let me just, bottom line up front. Folks, the FBI and the DNC have a video and a camera focused on the bench where the pipe bomb was planted, and yet nobody's seen it. Why? The answer is simple. Because if they make public the video of the man or woman planting the pipe bomb, someone's going to recognize that person, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that's Eddie Jones or Tony Bag of Donuts. And I can almost guarantee you the conservative media is going to be at that person's door and is going to find out they were working with the anti-Trump crowd. 100%. 100%. I am all in on this. Here, his source, the government official, part 2 from this piece. This piece only gets better, by the way. The government official in question reported that the DNC footage of the bomber that they watched depicted the pipe bomber actually planting the bomb. They have the footage and, quote, did not note any problem with the frame rate or the clarity of the picture. In contrast, by the way, to what the FBI released publicly, which is some grainy picture. The government official did not, as one would expect, obtain this footage from the FBI. Instead, the government official watched the footage at the DNC building. Darren Beattie and his crew, if this whistleblower is legit, and I have no reason to believe he isn't, you have just cracked open the scandal of a lifetime. That there is a clear video of some person planting this pipe bomb that the FBI's hiding, the Secret Service has deleted the texts of, and the phone companies, private phone companies are out there corrupting files to not expose who this person is. Ladies and gentlemen, this guy just blew open the biggest scandal of a lifetime. I have not changed my story for 3 years on this. This was absolutely an inside job. There is no way the government is going to all this trouble to hide this person's identity. Why doesn't the FBI want you to see the bomber? I will tell you again, because if they put the video out there, if they put this out there, there you go. If they put some clear video of this out there, of this person dropping the bomb, and there's an identifier they can see, they will identify this person, conservative media. What's that? That video is absolute shit. They released a garbage video on purpose. You can see it on the screen right now if you're watching on Rumble. They released it on purpose. And by the way, I don't believe that's the bomber at all. Because the Secret Service would have, that's the night before. The Secret Service would have found the bomb. Even with, remember, the bomb dogs are not political. Folks, even if you're in the chat, understandably saying, Dan, with all the Secret Service failures lately, how could they miss the bomb? It's not, the dog walked by it, folks. I'm not apologizing for anyone. I'm not telling you there couldn't have been involvement. I'm not telling you it's not Secret Service corruption. I'm not telling you any of that. I'm simply telling you the dog is not political. The dog is trained to sit when it senses an explosive. There is zero chance it misses the bomb. The only explanation is the bomb wasn't there. It was only placed minutes or seconds before it was found. Is there another? There's another piece to this, right? Oh, give me, yeah, here, one more piece to this. Darren says, finally, there's the odd fact that the government official in question had to go to the DNC rather than the FBI. Remember Massey, the video I just played, Massey asking Horowitz, our hapless inspector general here, hey man, how does the FBI not have this video? The DNC has it. He says it's possible the official simply wanted to go to the source of the footage and got lucky that the DNC hadn't deleted it yet. it curiously deleted its footage from January 6th. Again, why delete the J6 footage and hold on to the footage from the evening before? Remember, that guy you're seeing on the screen or woman is from the night before. I don't believe that's the real bomber. And they're not even releasing clear footage on that. Folks, this is a huge monster scandal. I want you to watch Horowitz again in this video. I'm going to take a short break, our last one. Horowitz squirm again under questioning with Massey when he's asked another critical question, which makes me now affirmatively 100% believe my conclusion is true. This was an inside job, the bomber part, and that the so-called insurrection, there's a deeper story there, and we haven't even scratched the surface. I'm going to show you Horowitz squirm after this when he's asked a simple question about the number of informants in the crowd. Massey asks a really smart question here. Last break. Folks, Blackout Coffee. It's time for you to be awake, not woke. Blackout Coffee supports hardworking Americans, our Constitution. They love this country and they don't hide from it. Folks, I love this coffee. I drink 2-3 cups a day. Their quick brew that comes in the can is absolutely delicious. Their blueberry crumble coffee, amazing, Paula's favorite. Cinnamon French toast, my favorite. I'll be honest with you, it tastes like a treat more than anything. I absolutely love it. The dark chocolate flavor, fantastic. This is the official coffee of the Bongino Army. Skip the long lines in the store. I am proud to personally recommend Blackout Coffee. Order online. The folks at Blackout love this country and they love their customers. They ship within 48 hours of roasting. It is fresh. It is bold. It is never bitter. The coffee's delicious. I'm obsessed with coffee. I've been offered a lot of coffee kind of deals in the past. This is the best. Blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. See what I'm talking about. They're the real deal. Stop drinking that woke crap coffee run by people who hate America. It's a proud American company. Loves their coffee. Loves their customers. The website, blackoutcoffee.com/Bongino. Use coupon code Bongino for 20% off your first order. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. Join the Bongino Army, the official coffee. Bongino Army. You like that? Ladies and gentlemen, our last sponsor, Genucel, having an end of summer sale. Get this top-selling Genucel Dark Spot Corrector right now and help those dark marks and sunspots disappear right before your eyes. Here's Stephanie from California. I have skin damage from using the sun. Love the product. It reduces the appearance of the various discolorations and leaves my skin looking younger, even at my age. Hey, man, I'm almost 50. I know. Sunspots, brown spots, discoloration. Imagine those inflamed patches on your face disappearing in front of your very eyes. The Genucel skincare guarantee is amazing. You'll see the results the very first day, guaranteed or your money back. So take advantage of the Genucel most popular package, which includes the classic Genucel bags and puffiness treatment and immediate effects, all at about 70% off. So try the best skincare in the world for yourself, completely risk-free. And if you're a new customer, there's a big surprise waiting for you on Genucel.com right now. Just look for the word red. New customers only, please. It's simple. Go to Genucel.com/Dan and start looking years, even decades younger tomorrow. GENUCEL.com/Dan, a limited edition beauty box with 2 skincare essentials, absolutely free with your order right now. Genucel.com/Dan, Genucel.com/Dan. Thanks, Genucel. Back to the show. We always appreciate your patience. Sponsors are here to talk to you. They keep the show free, and we appreciate them. Watch Horowitz squirm. So remember, January 6th is 2 separate incidents. It's the Capitol and the pipe bomb at the DNC. Watch Horowitz squirm when asked about federal assets at the Capitol. And Massey asks a brilliant question to Republican congressman because he knows the government has to create a paper trail for everything. He asks specifically about reimbursements and travel reimbursements for the agents. This is just brilliant. Watch this.
Is it going to be done before the inauguration?
That is certainly my hope. And
it's your hope. We're 4 years into it, and we know what we do know is you're going to expose that there were confidential human sources at the Capitol. Can you tell us today how many went into the Capitol?
I'll have that information in the report. I'm not able to speak to information in there, both because it's in draft and we get a response from the department and the FBI, but also because I don't know yet what's classified and not classified.
So if they broke the law, if they went into the Capitol, which we pretty much know there were confidential human sources who went into the Capitol and right there alongside of everybody else. Wouldn't they need to follow DOJ CHS protocols? And do you know if those were followed?
They should follow CHS protocols. And again, we'll include that information in the report.
Do you know how many were reimbursed for travel?
As I sit here, I don't recall the number.
But I recall, or you won't tell us?
Well, and if I did know it, I wouldn't be in a position to tell you because we still have to go through.
We're 4 years into this.
This, folks, listen, again, I'm not asking you to love or hate these congressmen. I don't care. I don't want to date the guys. This is not a Tinder episode. These are representatives in a representative democracy, constitutional republic. When they're plus ones, they deserve accolades. When they're minus ones, they deserve condemnation. Massey's questioning here is brilliant. It's not, did you notice what he's doing here? It's not the typical vapid, like, were there CHSs? Because he knows what the confidential human sources in the crowd, feds in the crowd. He knows the answer is going to be an ongoing. So what does he do? He sets up Horowitz, and Horowitz walks right in the trap. He says, can you give us the number? And instead of just saying, well, I can tell you the number 0, he acknowledges that there is a number, meaning there were confidential human sources in the crowd, which I already told you a whistleblower has 100% confirmed to me. He was there and he showed me the pictures. There were absolutely a number of feds in the crowd that day. I can tell you that with absolute certainty. Now, this was such a nuke yesterday that all of the, mainstream media outlets that have run from this story, while Julie, Darren Beatty, me, and others have been all over it and called conspiracy theorists, that there were feds in the crowd. No one touched the story when I brought it up. P1s, do you remember the show when I brought this up? You guys are like diehard. Any McGroins? It was like 3 weeks ago when my whistleblower friend reached out with the actual pictures of feds in the crowd. Nobody touched it. Nobody reached out to me. Nothing. 0 people. Now it made it onto Fox. Pretty soon it'll be making it to other places too. You see how this works? We lead the way. Everybody follows along later. Here's Fox's Kerry Kupek, who's a very nice lady, by the way, saying, wow, Horowitz kind of set himself up there, acknowledging for the first time, really, that there actually is a number of confidential human sources in the crowd. Watch this.
Oh, I think he was definitely implying, yes, there were, because when he was asked, well, how many of them, these confidential human sources, which are effectively spies for the FBI, it's a tool of law enforcement, when asked how many were reimbursed for travel, he said he didn't recall the number off the top of his head, which indicates there's a number. And so I personally think this is the sleeper story of the day. So many lawmakers and pundits were decried as crazy for suggesting that there could be confidential human sources involved in January 6th. And it looks like there might just have been. Now, of course, the questions are, what was their level of involvement? What was the conversations there? Were they, in fact, enticing or inducing anyone to commit crimes? Because that would be a whole separate legal issue, of course. But lots of questions and out of this very interesting testimony.
Sorry, Kerry Urbana, she got married, but it was Kupek was a maiden name. These guys are wondering in a rundown. They're like, who's that? Who's Kerry? That's the Kerry Urbana. Congratulations on your marriage, brother. Yeah, yes, it's the story of the day. Folks, you see why now I get a little frustrated? I don't want to get into, I don't want to ass up this show again like I did yesterday, getting too emotional. So I'm going to just make a quick point, and I promise, you have my word, I'm going to move on. You understand now how much you guys mean to me? That I put stuff out there only when I can back it up. When I'm speculating, giving an opinion, I'm doing it on fact. Why? Because you guys are always 2 weeks to 2 months to even 2 years ahead of the news cycle. Moving on. I told you there were feds in the damn crowd, and a lot of them. And you watch, the January 6th pipe bomber story is going to be the biggest scandal of our time when you find out it was an inside job. And you're only going to find out if Trump wins. Which reminds me, we got an election coming up. You see how today's show flows so much better? Because yesterday I was in such a good mood. When I don't get crazy Sometimes I get nuts, and I'm sorry you got to live through that with me. But I'm honored. You know what's crazy? The show sucked, and we were still the #1 stream in the world, more than doubling the #2 guy, the Pat McAfee show. It's a great show. Expect another October surprise. They will not let Trump win, folks. They will not. It has nothing to do with tax cuts. Trust me. It has nothing to do with it. The liberals don't really care about Trump's policies. They care about Trump's attitude. They care that Trump's coming in here with 4 years of experience, knows where the bodies are buried, and he's ready to start opening some closets, okay? And it is driving them freaking bananas. They cannot have him asking these questions. He's in a lot of trouble. Excuse me, Kamala Harris, is in a world of trouble. I've been using this guy a lot because I don't want to be accused of bias, and I never want to be a lefty. There's this guy, Harry Enton, on CNN, and he strikes me as one of these guys who, he's obviously probably not a conservative. He works at CNN, but he strikes me as one of these guys who wants to tell you the truth pre-election if you're a liberal, so he doesn't look like a moron if Trump wins this thing big on election day. If, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm serious. I bet the viewers at CNN hate this guy. Here he is again saying, listen, this woman is in real trouble. People may not like Trump. They may not like his tweets. They may not like his attitude. But this is why I played that Jamie Dimon clip yesterday. But so many people are fed up with the nonsense. They're going to pocket that stuff. And even though they don't like him, they're going to vote for him anyway. Don't listen to me. I always bring the receipts. If you're a liberal, this is your own network. Check this out.
Is one of the most fascinating dynamics throughout this presidential campaign. We have spoken about Kamala Harris's popularity and how it has taken off, right? So this is the net favorability rating. And look, Harris is more popular than Donald Trump, right? If we're looking across an average of polls, Harris's net favorability is +1 point in positive territory. Donald Trump is still in negative territory when it comes to his net favorability at -9 points. You'd look at this and you'd say to yourself, oh, Kamala Harris should be well ahead in this race. But that CNN poll out yesterday had Harris up by just a point. The Quinnipiac University poll that was out yesterday showed something very similar. So the bottom line here is that Kamala Harris is in positive territory. She's clearly better liked by Donald Trump, but yet we have a very close horse race on our hands.
So popularity can mean different things.
Yes. All right. So Donald Trump, personally, not very beloved, right? This is something we've heard from a lot of his supporters, that maybe they don't love him personally, but they liked the job that he did as president.
Folks, that's probably top 5, one of the most important clips regarding the election I've played in the last 6 months. I'm hearing this all over the place. I live in a 50-50 county. Justin, can you vouch? He lives here too. Guy's been here a while too. I forget how long he's been here. This is a 50-50 county. We've had a Democrat congressman and a Republican one. It's probably maybe 55 now, but I promise you, I do not live in a deep red area of Florida. I wish it was redder. I'm just telling you, I have not seen a single, have you seen one? A Harris wall sign? Seriously, have you seen? Where? Where is it? So Justin says there's one on Sewell's Point Road. And he remembers it because it's the only one he's seen. I'm just telling you, I'm sure they exist. I haven't seen any. This woman, people do not like her. She is an idiot. Everything she's proposing, she's backing away from and then proposing something different. And then you go back to the old stuff and she goes, oh, I didn't say it, but I did. Nobody wants a vacuum. People may not like Trump, but they liked his presidency. And now, I told you, the left is going to double down. Folks, there are two kinds of, I don't want to oversimplify it, but, you know, snapshots and sound bites are what elections are about. But in the macro picture, if you're running for a campaign like a presidential campaign, which is going to be a big diversity of ideas from around the country, you're not running in like Staten Island, New York, or Los Angeles. You're running in a big, diverse country. There are only two kinds of campaigns. There's these mega base elections where those are the ones basically Donald Trump runs. Let's just be candid. Donald Trump's going to get independents, but he's not going to get a lot of swap over Democrats outside of working class folks. He's not. Donald Trump is going to get his base and people who are with him no matter what, and he's going to move a couple other voters here or there. Then you have these other kinds of elections. You have the elections where massive amounts of independents and others swap over. In other words, 1984 Reagan, perfect example. In 1984, Reagan won 49 states. He only lost Mondale's home state. Do you have any idea how many Democrats and independents voted for Reagan? That's just not the kind of elections that we're having anymore. They're not. Everything's a base election. Kamala Harris now realizes she's not flipping anyone. The polls are devastating. The election's already going on. Did you see the early voting requests and mail-in ballot requests at, what was it, Pennsylvania? It is just devastating for Harris. She is in a world of pain. If we execute and bring 10 people, we will win this thing. I told you they were going to double down on crazy. And now you're seeing it. Did you see this video yesterday out of Congress? You should play this everywhere. This is what Rep. Stacey Plaskett. This is one of the craziest admissions you will ever hear on Capitol Hill from, again, a representative simply too stupid to shut up. She basically admits in this video that they can't lose to Trump because they're really used to weaponizing the DOJ and FBI to go after their opponents, and they don't want to lose that ability. Imagine being dumb enough to say this out loud and not realizing you put your foot in your mouth. Watch this.
What is the point of this subcommittee? Because it's necessary for the public and the media to hear, to try and provide cover for the eradication of the Department of Justice and the FBI. We are having these hearings so that you become immune. You become inured to the notion of the removal of the FBI and DOJ, so that those agencies are no longer there to serve as a check against white nationalism, great replacement theorists, Christian nationalists, white fragility, fascists, and the twice impeached convicted felon, former president and would-be dictator, Donald Trump.
Can you imagine admitting this on video? Admitting that your ridiculous racial division wars, that you've used the FBI and DOJ as your frontline troops to attack people in your DEI wars. I love how she cites the great replacement theory, by the way, which is a Democrat theory they've literally written about. Read the New York Times article called "We Can Replace Them." It's an actual article. Read the UN report about replacement theory, demographic destiny. It is a Democrat strategy. It is an actual written, discussed strategy. I love how she talks about it as if it's a Republican thing. Us noticing what you're up to. I have played the demographic destiny video of Democrats talking about it probably 50 times. It is all they talk about. Imagine admitting this. Folks, this thing went viral yesterday because Republicans, conservatives, and sane Democrats are like, holy shit, this woman just admitted on tape that they weaponized the FBI and DOJ to come after us using their fake DEI thing as a cover. You see this one? Here's one of Biden's cabinet secretaries, the insane Gina Raimondo from Rhode Island. This woman is a lunatic. She is one of the stupid, smart people we talked about. I told you they were going to double down on crazy. Why? Fit it into my bigger picture. They have already transitioned from running a pretend moderate campaign to going full left and crazy to try and get out their mega base. Dump the filibuster, these crazy fair share things she's talking about. This is all far left gobbledygook shit. It doesn't mean anything. They've transitioned. They're not trying to get independence anymore. Here's Gina Raimondo, again, pandering to the base, talking about Trump needs to be extinguished. The guy was nearly killed twice and was shot in the head once. Watch this.
What he says is the opposite. It's just another lie. Like, how did we get here? Let's extinguish him for good. We have an answer. We have a remarkably talented candidate who is sincere, who's pragmatic, who's open. Let's just get it done.
This is the kind of thing, if you were a conservative, to say on a cable news channel, I promise you would never be welcome back again. We need to extinguish Donald Trump. They tried twice. He was shot in the head. I'll tell you, they did extinguish Corey Comparatore. They murdered him. They murdered him. Folks, these people are crazy. I told you to expect more surprises. They are not going to let this guy win. We've got to take it. We've got to execute, go vote, and bring 10 people with you. That is the only thing that's going to stop these lunatics. They are insane. Biden did an appearance yesterday. And by the way, I want to just say this, and I know we get into a lot of the personal stuff with politics because people annoy us when we do stupid stuff. But I want to say on the record, it's on video, and Karl Rove helped me a lot when I had cancer. I don't know Karl very well. I actually remembered him more as a Secret Service agent. He had a detail for a little bit, and I had to allocate resources towards him. He was doing some speeches and things like that. It's a long story. But Karl Rove, who's obviously a Bushy type guy, when I had cancer, helped me a lot. And it was unsolicited. I didn't even ask. He basically knew someone at MD Anderson, the premier cancer hospital in the country. And I want to say personally, because I'm not an asshole, that I want to thank him for it. But I obviously disagree with Karl Rove about a lot of stuff. And that's okay. That's okay. We can, I'm not trapped in one simple box where I view the world exclusively through politics like the left does. I bring up Karl Rove because Rove had a really insightful article. It's one of the few times, at least recently, I've agreed with him on politics. He wrote an article in the Wall Street Journal saying that Biden's ego, if you haven't heard the background story, quickly, Joe Biden is now getting out of the White House again. He did an interview with The View yesterday. I'll show you a quick clip from a minute. He wants to give a farewell tour about all his accomplishments. The problem he's having is none are actual accomplishments. Inflation, the open border, turmoil overseas. You get the point. Nobody wants to be reminded about Joe Biden's record. He was the most unpopular president in modern American history. The Kamala Harris campaign, if you read Rove's piece, is freaking out right now because they don't know what to do. They don't want to look ungrateful, but they just want this guy to shut up. And he won't shut up. He's going around the country like, me and Kamala did so much, and everybody's like, oh, you did a lot, all right. Oh, Kamala was part of the inflation and open border? Here's what I mean. Goes on The View yesterday, and him and Joy Behar, you really think that this is going to convert a couple of straggler voters out there who haven't decided yet? Where Donald Trump was shot in the last few days, and him and Joy Behar try to do the flipperoo and blame Donald Trump? You really think this is effective? Check this out.
Now he's blaming rhetoric from you. That you inspired these two assassination attempts. After all of the calls for violence, take them out, all the rest of it, you know what it is. Don't you think that that is just unbelievable? And what do you say to that?
Well, I think he is the most unusual president. No. Look, when I ran, I said I was running. One of the first major speeches I made was before Independence Hall about democracy. That democracy is at stake.
And to restore the soul of this country.
Yes.
The soul.
I ran for three reasons. I said I wanted to restore the soul of the country, meaning in a sense of decency and honor.
Yep.
You really believe this appeals to people, decency and honor? Your son's on video with some serious drug problem with Ladies of the Night on video, is accused of just horrendous crimes, is really in the midst of an unprecedented amount of federal law enforcement activity, even though you run the Department of Justice. You're accused of being a partner in this. You've accused Donald Trump of being these god-awful things, fascist, allusions to Nazism, Hitler, you and your party. He's shot in the head. He was almost murdered again. And you're talking about being the candidate of what? Shambolic, happy, joy, Stimson J. Cat moments or something like that? Are you shitting me, bro? You really think Joy Behar and him are going to appeal to anyone? Happy, joy, with the joy. This is total bullshit. You are living in an absolute vacuum of policy right now. The only thing you're voting on is the Trump agenda. No, I mean it. If you're a liberal voting against Trump, you know what he stands for and you don't like it. Fine, that's your choice. If you are voting for Kamala Harris, you don't know what you're voting for. You have no idea. She hasn't said anything. Everything she said has just been a copy of Donald Trump. Charles Cook, who we had a dispute last week about something, but I don't really care. I let this stuff go. Good content is good. Notice this. This guy, Alex Thompson, he notes, is explaining why Kamala Harris is a totally empty shell. He says the pattern is remarkable. I want you to look at these Alex Thompson tweets. These are all quotes from Kamala Harris, by the way. Tell me again, please, what you're voting for if you're voting for Kamala Harris. He notes since she ran for DA in 2003, Harris has been an outspoken opponent of the death penalty. We asked if she's still opposed to the death penalty and would push for legislation to ban it. The campaign didn't respond. Okay. Where's Kamala Harris on the death penalty? Hell if I know. Harris's campaign is declining to say whether she still supports decriminalizing sex work. Really? A position she took in 2019. You want hookers on every corner? Yeah. Asked if she was still available for a brief interview on the topic. The camp didn't respond. So where are we on hookers on the corner and the death penalty? No idea. Oh, there's more? I didn't even know there's three. Are there three of these? Or? In 2019, Harris pledged a series of executive actions to give 2 million Dreamers a path to citizenship through parole in place. We asked if she still supported those actions. Her campaign declined to say either way. What are you voting for? No idea. They asked her finally if she was available for a 5 to 10-minute interview to discuss her position on immigration. A campaign spokesperson declined. Folks, nobody has any idea who Kamala Harris is, what she stands for, because everything is bullshit. I was right about another thing, too. What's my batting average on conspiracy theories? Thank you. 1,000. I told you the Sean Combs, P. Diddy, will not be calling him that, as you know. The Sean Combs case is bigger than you think. Not a case about an entertainer. This case is a big deal. Why did I tell you that? Because, folks, I worked with the Clinton detail for a long time up in New York when she was running for Senate. And they hung around with this whole crowd. That's right. Oh, look, dailymail.com. Diddy's bodyguard says there are tapes of politicians at freak-offs and claims the rapper learned this from other music moguls. Really? Did I say that the other day, fellas, that there may be more? Do you remember that show? You P1s, remember that? Like 2 days ago? Like 2 days ago. Here's a really interesting piece of audio. You know Suge Knight? Suge Knight, what was he, Death Row Records or something? Big rap producer, Suge Knight. He's in jail, in prison right now. But he knows Sean Combs really well. They were friends and then frenemies. I want you to listen to this. This is with Chris Cuomo, who actually does a pretty decent job with this interview. And Marion Suge Knight has some really interesting thoughts on Sean Combs, a.k.a. Diddy. Listen to this.
Do you think Diddy knows enough that it's a very delicate balance that maybe investigators will want to know these other names and greatly reduce his exposure to criminality to time versus what people would do to keep him quiet?
Number one, I've been knowing him a long time, and we was friends. We're not enemies, but we were friends. He's not a dummy, so he's smart enough to work his magic. On top of that, this man right here, he been involved with the FBI of his career. Shit, he got powerful people. One of his partners who started his company with drug money, President Obama, got him out of prison. So it's not like he don't have no moves. So I don't think nobody should just count him out. I don't think he gonna lay down and just crawl in the corner and die. He probably going through a lot of shit right now because he probably going through a lot of withdrawals.
What I tell you the other day, I've seen rich guys go to prison. They change their minds real quick.